Hey folks, FreakRockSays1 here. As you can read from the title, I finally got my hands on what I've been waiting for you don't know how long. I finally got the Type 1 PS2 wireless controller off eBay. Now, this is called a first impressions video, and I'm going to go over that throughout while I mention here. Now, so far, I really think this controller is a very good alternative to using the broke adapter with a PS3 or PS4 controller. Now, how does it compare to the Type 2 controller? Well, I'm here to mention that, finding this controller is basically trying to find a needle in a haystack. I was successful, and, yes, it's yellow, but I don't mind that. It almost looks like my favorite Sonic character, Tails, or if you go the Nintendo route, you could say it looks like Pikachu from Pokemon, if you could think about it. But other than that, maybe one day if I am creative, I might make this controller look like Tails. I'll think about it. If you guys want me to do that, let me know in the comments. But other than that, let's go back to the comparison. Now, the easy way to tell the difference between the Type 1 and Type 2 when you look online, you want to look at the face buttons area. Well, not the face button areas, but the select star and the middle button underneath. On the Type 1, it says analog. On the Type 2, it says mode. And the LED position is different. On the Type 1, it's where a normal DualShock would have it. And on the Type 2, it has them separate. Because on the Type 1, these are combined. Let me turn it on and I'll show you what I mean. You see the red and green are combined here. The green is for being connected to the console, while the red is for the DualShock and the joysticks. The Type 2, we have mode, and that's for the joysticks, and the power is for the connectivity. And also the power switch position is different. On the Type 1, it's at the top. On the Type 2, it's at the bottom. Now, other differences are the face buttons and shoulder buttons. Other than the styling, you can get Type 2 controllers with the normal style X, circle, triangle, and square, and you can get Type 1s with the Aztec symbols. So this does not count. And then there's also other variations, like you got a snowflake for X, and you get the idea. Now, the directional pad on both of them, they're quite similar. Some people say the Type 2 one is better. Now, my other green controller that I reviewed in the past, this did not have the little pivot thing, so I had to open it up and take one from a broken PS1 or PS2 controller. Now it pivots just fine. But this one has the pivot from both of them, so I got to give them both credit for that. Now, the joysticks. When you get this brand new, it's almost faithful to a normal DualShock controller. But then, due to wear and tear, which in my case, these sticks will need to be replaced, and I'll get into that in a moment. The Type 2, when you get the controller brand new, yeah, they're not good. But swapping them with a legit joystick or a newer style joystick, it will fix the issue with most of them. And now, onto the face buttons and shoulder buttons. If you ever use a legit PS2 DualShock 2 controller or the DualShock 3 and 4 with the broke adapter, the face buttons and shoulder buttons are pressure sensitive. And if you play a game like Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Auto, or even Test Drive that's say pressure sensitive, if you were to press the X button on a racing game, you go lightly, and then all at once. The Type 1 controller, you got some precision. It's not really as much as the legit controller, but you got some precision. But on the Type 2, you're basically using a DualShock 1 controller with all or nothing. Even though the buttons feel like they should have pressure sensitive, whoever made these Type 2 controllers, they basically took the sensitivity out, and you're stuck with using all or nothing. Which is kind of a shame, because these buttons feel very nice. Even the shoulder buttons feel very nice. I mean, they've got a nice click feeling. I mean, these feel more spongy, but I don't know. I like both. I mean, it's hard to tell. Do I prefer the clickiness or do I prefer the sponginess? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like both, honestly. And if you were to play Ace Combat and turn on the throttle, you can obviously have some control with the Type 1 controller. Not as much as the legit controller, but you get the idea. And if you're wondering what kind of batteries they both take AAA. The differences between the Type 1 and Type 2, I've heard some people had issues with them losing their cover for the Type 1 controller. Apparently, I haven't lost mine. And the Type 2 has a slightly better grip on the back. But other than that, yeah, both of them take AAAs. And if you want to use rechargeable AAAs, then, well, you may get more hours of playtime. But it may vary, so. Also, this one, the joysticks on mine are, well, how do I put this lightly? They need to be fixed or replaced, so I do have a spare DualShock joysticks that I can pop into this controller. I mean, sure, I could buy some newer ones, but most people say they should use the legit one, and I'd like to pop in legit ones in this controller because obviously I want this to be almost as legit as a legit PS2 controller. I mean, sure, it's not going to be fully 100%, but hey, having some variety would be better than having none of it. So I'm going to probably take this into the same place that I got my GameCube and Game Boy Advance repaired. So, wish me luck. Other than that, thanks for watching. This is Regrox as one saying, if you're looking for a Type 1 controller, eBay is your best friend. Mercari is your worst enemy. Because when I tried buying this controller, I got this one. It's not a bad controller. I mean, it's just the picture showed this when it gave me the other variation. So be careful with what you buy on Mercari. And if you're on Amazon, you're obviously looking at a bunch of these. Though the ones with the USB on the receiver are actually pretty cool. So I may want to get my hands on that, but I don't know. I'll think about it.